Hello everyone, it's Elaine Louise from Pink Peppermint Cards. Thank you for joining me today on my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing some super cute Christmas tags, so I hope you enjoy this video. So to start off with, I'm taking the Tag It dies from Craftin Desert Divas and I'm cutting a number of those out. And in this project I cut 8 out. And then I'm going to move on to designing my tag. So I'm taking the Hill Scene 2 stencil and I've taken some post-it tape and just covered up those inside cutout parts. You don't have to do that, but I just find it easier and quicker if I cover those up. So the distress inks I'm going to be using today are Blueprint Sketch and Chip Sapphire. I take some of that on a blending tool. This one is Blueprint Sketch I'm starting with. I tap it off onto a piece of scrap cardstock and then I go in off the edge onto the tag and blend that Blueprint Sketch all over that top half of my tag. This is going to start forming the basis of a nice dark sky. Now I move on to my chipped sapphire towards the top third of that tag. So the top half is going to be a little bit darker, gradually moving down, lightening my hand as I go. So that's what it looks like once the stencil is removed, and then I flip round that Hill Scene 2 stencil because I want to create the illusion of some snow drifts. So I really, with a very light hand, I barely have to re-ink my ink blending tool, and I very softly and sort of do motion stroking upwards so they get a really sort of ombre faded out look. And then I just take my stencil and I just blend a very small bit of that Blueprint Sketch along the bottom of that tag. And I don't show all of the tags. I made 4, but I only show the process for 1. But I'm just showing you again that hill or snowdrift that I put on that tag. But I do these tags in assembly line style, even though I'm only showing the actual process once. So then I take my tag and I use my embossing bag all over that top half where that sky is. And then I take the Seasons stamp set, new for October, and I take 2 of the snowflakes onto a small acrylic block. And I'm just going to freehand stamp these. So I take my Versamark ink and just pop a couple of snowflakes. Then I turn over my acrylic block and then stamp 2 of the snowflakes on the other side. Next to heat emboss, I use my Reindeer Superfine White Embossing Powder and I tap the excess off and heat set that with my heat tool. I love the way it melts and they really come to life once they're melted and they really pop against that blue sky. Now to move on to the sentiment on my tag, I am taking my mini Misti tool. I put my tag into the mini Misti, and the stamp set I'm going to be using today is called Nice List. This was my first ever stamp set from Craftin Desert Divas, and I popped the "You made the nice list," or "You're always on the nice list." I can't remember what it says now. And I just make sure I'm happy with how it's lined up. Again, I take my VersaFine ink or my embossing body first, and then I'm going to be using a nice dark black ink. So this is VersaFine Onyx Black. I stamp that 3 times, make sure it's really nice and dark. It is "You made the nice list." Taking some clear embossing powder, tapping off, and then again I heat set that with my heat tool. Now to move on to the colouring of my reindeer. For this particular video I've chosen to show you this reindeer. I did colour I think all of them up in the set. but I used the same colours for all of the reindeers. I've taken some Strathmore Bristol Smooth cardstock and my embossing body all over that. Again, my VersaFine Onyx Black ink, stamping that out a couple of times. I'll use my clear embossing powder. Tap off what I don't need, and then again I'm going to heat set that. I usually do this for all my watercoloured images. I just find it easier. I've taken my detailed water brush pen and using my Zig Clean Colour Wheel brush markers. Off to the side I do have a little bit of extra water. My brush was a bit dry on this particular day. The water didn't want to sort of flow down, so I do always have a little bit of water on the side to help move that colour. I'll list all of the colours used for this reindeer and all of the products used in today's video down in the description box below. So if you miss anything and you want to check them out, head down to the description box. Everything will be listed there. I'm just using a darker brown for the antlers and the hoofs, and then a lighter brown for the stripe down his face and his tummy. I'm using some light pink for the cheeks and the ears, and a nice red and yellow for the bell and collar around his neck. And just adding some little dots with a white gel pen just to his back and cheeks. Taking some Ruby Slippers Nuvo drops. These are a glittery red colour drop. Just using a very small amount around the collar and the little nose. It's not dry yet in the video. It does look super cute once it's dry. And now I am taking my Nuvo liquid adhesive, and that's how I'm going to secure all my little reindeers. I've fussy cut these out. It didn't take too long. And they probably will end up in the bin, sadly, much to my dismay. So I like to always create a backing piece for my tags. This is where you can write your message. And I apply some Nuvo liquid adhesive all over that piece and then pop the front of my tag on top. And I like to use my Misti so that I get it all lined up perfectly. And just hold that down secure for a few seconds. And there we go, that's where you can write your message. To finish my tags off, I've taken this red glittery tulle. It was a super messy process. The glitter did fall off quite a lot. So I just take about 8 to 10 inches of that, scrunch it up and then feed it through the hole. Just be careful not to tear the tag. And then I've taken a small length of this white ribbon which I'm going to tie around that tulle. This was probably the fiddliest part of the process, and I find it quite fiddly to tie bows on camera, but I think it turned out okay. So I just sort of fiddle around with that bow. I try to fit my fingers through the bow to make it nice and round. And then once I'm happy with that, I then just trim off the excess piece of tulle and then fluff that open at the top so it doesn't look quite so sharp. Just making that bow nice and tight, and there my tag is finished. So thank you for joining me today on my channel. I hope you enjoyed these Christmassy tags. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Also, don't forget to subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you in my next Christmas themed video. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. Bye bye.